In this episode, we are going to take a look at the absolute critical things that you need to do in order to set your week up for success. Welcome back to yet again another episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. My name is Kevin McKella, the host, and this is the show for stressed out overachievers who are really looking to design this perfect ideal day in order to actually make movement on all the things that they want to accomplish in their life. So when your head actually hits the pillow at the end of the night, you feel great about what you did that day and ultimately the trajectory of your life and where it's headed. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing and obviously hit that bell notification so you'll be notified of every time we put out a new episode. Today, what we're going to be talking about is one of the most crucial elements of ritual design, and that is how we plan our week. So right now it's the end of January, and this is the time where many of us have unfortunately maybe set some annual goals, maybe set some resolutions, whatever, and unfortunately many of us has already fallen off. It's a natural part of how this works. Goals, if you achieve them super easy, then they're not audacious enough. So we're expected to fail, and unfortunately at this point in January is kind of where we lose a lot of momentum. It's still cold. Cold is something. Snowing or whatever. No one's going anywhere still. What do we do, right? There's a lot of things that can come at us that can distract us, can overwhelm us, and we kind of just chalk it up to whatever. What we do is we take a look at, like I said, one of the most crucial elements of ritual design, and that is the week design, how we plan our week. See, ritual design is all about the ideal day, as I just mentioned, with our AM routine, our BW, AW, and PM routine. Those four fundamental routines: the actuator, the clog, the variable, the keystone, all these things, right? But the keystone, as I just kind of threw in there at the end, is the thing you only do once a week. Now, we're not going to actually talk about the keystone routine. If you want to get a little bit of an idea of how that works, all the way back on episode 9, I believe, I'll leave a link here. You can take a look at that. But this is how I plan my week. See, in my program, Day by Design, I teach ritual design, but I also teach all these extra elements that are surrounded by ritual design. In this case, how we plan our week. So what I'm going to do is, if you have the ritual design planner, you know kind of how this works, and you can follow along with me, and I'll give you some insight about how I plan my week. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm going to read through and show you how I plan my week. If you do end up picking one up, you can obviously order on Amazon or the link below. But this is, I think, the best way. If you're overwhelmed by this whole process, the planning and the execution of your week is really the best place to start. Let's take a look. What I do first before I plan my week is actually I review the previous week. Obviously, if you're listening to this and it's the January 1st or whatever, or if it's the first of the quarter and it's a brand new planner, you're not going to have anything to review. But obviously for the next 12 weeks within a quarter, you're going to have the previous week to review. And basically, I organize this into objectives. I have 3 major objectives, and most of the time throughout the planner and in a lot of other types of productivity planners out there, you're going to notice there is the power of 3, the 3 objectives, the 3 daily tasks, the 3 goals, whatever. 3 is a very magic number because it's not too many, not too short. It's the beginning, middle, and end. There's the closing of the story loop, if you will. It's a nice, pretty number. And what I do is I set my weekly objectives. So the first thing is I ask is which ones were met and which ones weren't. And in the planner, I actually give myself a spot to have a percentage of completion. So I'll give you everything that I'll tell you exactly what I did. My first objective: finish everything for workshop. I do these workshops every once in a while for Upgrade, and I'll leave another link in below. This is going to be the day of links, where if you're not signed up for the next one, definitely take a look and sign up. That I got 0%. I got nothing done, and that's okay. But I'll come back to that. Second one was finish. What did I write? Finish office construction, and what that meant was, we redid the office floor because we had a flood in here. So I had put the whole floor down, and all I have to do is finish up some moldings and finish up some spackling in the corner. And actually, that's about it. But I only got 10% done. And I'll come back to that. Got some spackling done. Better than nothing. And then finish the about page of the website. If you've been to the website, you'd notice there was no about page. So I finished the about page. I got the whole thing done. Finished. Check mark. 100% complete. Great. The next important part of this is I figure out why. Again, throughout this planner and throughout many personal development productivity systems, it's all about the why. Because when we have clarity on why we want something or why we didn't achieve something or why we did achieve something, that is much more powerful than just saying, no, I didn't achieve it. If objectives were not met, why? So let's take a look at the first two that I didn't meet. Finish everything for workshop. Well, the reason why these were not met was because I did not create a breakdown of a project. See, what I needed to do was in the back of the planner, I have project pages. I didn't create a project page. I wasn't thinking that, you know what, this is a whole project, but it is. Because when I have a project, now I have all the action items that need to be done for that project. Then all I need to do was say, this week, all I need to do is this action item and then this one. It makes it much more clear. I know when I can schedule those action items. I can figure out how long they might take. I digress. So I didn't do that. And then for the office construction, I chose to start the floor in the other room instead of the office. So granted, I didn't set out to achieve the goal that I set, but I did start not another project, but the rest of the construction in the entire basement. I can go on and say if that's good or bad. I think it was me. I wanted to build the momentum in the moment for starting the office, because now once that floor is done, it's much more mentally satisfying, because right now what you see is beautiful. Everything else is a mess in here. So that was my thought process. But again, this is why we have a plan, because there's so much that goes into the plan. I mean, even though I made some progress on something, there's a reason why I wanted this done. Why I wanted the office done was because then I can, again, that was my mental progress of, okay, completely finished. It doesn't really matter, right? But sometimes it does. The next part, what will you change or keep the same for the upcoming week? Now, this is pretty important as well, because it dives a little bit deeper into why. So if I now know why I didn't do something, I can ask myself, okay, well, what am I going to revise about the next week in order to not have this happen again? So I wrote, continue to focus on clog and actuator. I can leverage Monday and Thursday to make progress on the workshop. So today, I'm actually filming this today because I'm off. So my daughter's sleeping right now. And instead of filming this at night, I film this during the day. And then tonight, I'll have some more time to work on the workshop. Thursday, my wife is off, which gives me a whole bunch of more time. And then the focus on the actuator and clog. Some of the things, I think some of them I got, my clog kind of got in the way. And there you go. And then I have a spot for general reflection. I like to just kind of reflect on the week. Different things that happened that were good, bad, just whatever, a little bit of journaling. Now, that's the weekly review. That's the first half, right? The second half is the next weekly prep. It actually has some similarities here. I pick another 3 major weekly objectives. So here's the biggest question. How do I pick these objectives? Well, remember, in one quarter, you have 13 weeks. You have 13 weeks to accomplish the goals that you set out for the quarter and or your domains that you want to improve. So, for instance, here's an exact way I do this. All I have to do is I look at a couple of spots. I look at my goals and I say, okay, and this is done through my my Keystone routine. So, enroll 3 students in Day by Design. Okay, so what is one way I have to get students enrolled? Well, one way is I host these workshops, because the workshops go through and teach ritual design, and then that obviously says, hey, this is everything that's in the program. If you want to enroll, here's our next dates, and it's a way to invite new students in. Create slides to the workshop. That's part of still the same goal. Now, remember, I also had to have a project plan, because hosting a workshop, there's a million different things that has to get done. I have to have an outline. I have to make a PDF for a downloadable. I have to create the slides, and I have to figure out some technology stuff. So when I have that project list, that's the second spot that I look. So I look at my goals and my projects, and then I briefly look at my domains, and I say, okay, well, is there anything this week I want to really specifically focus on instead of just have this general domain category that I want to improve? And then the third, for example, the third weekly objective, organize digital life and captures. So my digital life is getting a little crazy. I got folders everywhere. I've got different programs that I use, and I know what I'm going to be doing for 2022 at least. So I just have to actually get that done and organize all that. So those are my weekly objectives, right? I have every day to try to either do part of that or some of that, or the whole thing. The next spot is my key motivations behind these 3 weekly objectives. So again, we come back to the why. Why is it important that you accomplish the above objectives? So for the workshop and the slides for the workshop, I want to put on an unbelievable experience for potential students. That's a kind of a juicy why. And for the organize my digital life and capture strategies, this will be the final piece in getting my 2022 caught up. So, basically every year I kind of reorganize things. I reorganize my vision and all this stuff. So my digital life is the only thing I'm left behind for that. Those are my key motivations. The next spot is a breakdown of these objectives, because outline workshop, there's a few things there. I can't just sit down and outline it, right? I have to, one, listen to, and if you haven't listened to this show, it's a great show. I would recommend any either solopreneur or business owner listen to it. It's called the Smart Passive Income Podcast by Pat Flynn. I've been listening to him for years, and there was a fantastic episode that just came out about workshops. So I want to listen to that again and get some ideas there. I have to check my camera situation for certain top-down views for the planner or slides. So that actually is it for the workshop and the slides. And then I have to clean up I have my specific areas of, my specific tasks to organize my digital life. So I have to clean up, I use Notion as an app. I have to organize my capture strategies from my Notes app to cleaning up what was left in Notion. And I digress. So those are my tasks. So the 3 weekly objectives, the motivations between why those objectives I wrote, and then the tasks in order to complete those objectives. And now I can literally see, clean up Notion. What does that mean? So I could even break that down even further. Say on Monday, I want to make that happen. On Monday's tasks, I may write, clean up Notion, remove capture strategies, clean up content page, or whatever I need to do, right? So it's so crystal clear from these 3-month audacious goals to the granular task I have to do every single day, and even the tasks within the tasks. The breakdown of it, say on Monday, I have to break that down, and I can even list out how long each one will take. It is a super powerful, planning your week is just one of the most powerful things that I know how to make moves on your life, right? Because of the fact that you have 52 weeks in a year. That's not a lot of weeks, when you really think about it. If you think it's January now, till the next time we celebrate Christmas. 50? We have 50 more weeks. It's actually kind of going to be here before you know it. 50 is not a big number, right? And it's 13 within the quarter. We have 13 weeks. It is not a big number. So what I do is I really make sure that if I'm every week checking in, right? And I don't say if I have, a couple of years ago, I went through a very hellish moment in my life that for months and months and months, I didn't do any of this. I was out. I was going through a grieving process. I was done. So the way I got back into it was slowly, okay, what do I want to do? All right, what do I want to do with this quarter? Fine. And then every week I kind of check in, right? Sunday is like a reset day, or Friday night is like a reset day. And that is a arbitrary day. It's an arbitrary point on the calendar, but it's a really fantastic arbitrary point because it keeps us, it's a really good number. 13 weeks in a quarter, 52 weeks in a year. They're great. So before I wrap up, what is one thing that I'm excited for this week? I like to make sure that I write something that I'm excited about. It could be anything. And many weeks, it's a challenge for me to think about something I'm excited for. This week, the only thing I wrote down here was Ashley being off on Thursday for two reasons. One, I get to hang out with my wife more. Two, she's going to be happy that day because she gets to spend the whole day with my daughter. And three, I get so much more opportunity to get work done because I'm not watching my kiddo. That's the only thing I'm excited for this week. Nothing crazy, right? And then finally on this page is just a section where I'm going to capture things for the week. So again, if something comes up on Wednesday and I have to just capture it, but I don't know whether I'm going to do it Thursday, Friday, or Saturday or Sunday, I just write it in the capture section. And then when I get to that day, I plan out and I check back on this week. That is my way that I plan my week. I do my weekly review and then I plan the upcoming week. And there is, I will tell you, this takes a solid 15 minutes. And I've been doing this for many years now. And for you, it may take a half an hour if you first start. It is the biggest, most unbelievable investment you can make. Because what's another subconscious point of planning your week is that when you do make the plan, you are so fired up on Monday to start and execute your ritual design that for me, it gives me so much juice. If I go into Monday morning, I wake up and I don't have my week planned, it's like, and most of the time, again, I've been doing this for so long where if I do skip a week for whatever reason, I could still go through my day and I still check my boxes of my ritual design. But I don't have all the other things planned. I don't have the business block planned out of when I'm going to create the workshop, when I'm going to create the slides, when I'm going to do these things. And then that is where things start to crumble. Because I can execute my ritual design and I can work out and meditate and do all these things for myself personally, and I'll check the boxes on upgrade, but I'm not moving the needle. I'm just kind of maintaining. So that is part of why this is important to supplement your ritual design system with, because you need to plan for all the other things in your life. And that is it. So again, I review and I plan. I review the previous 3 weekly objectives. I figure out why I didn't or did hit them, right? And I'll just review here. I'll figure out what I need to change or keep the same. I'll reflect a little bit. I'll track my ritual design, and then on to the weekly prep. Select 3 more weekly objectives based on my goals and goals and domains and projects that I've set for this quarter. Figure out why I want to do them, list the tasks required to complete them all, and figure out what I'm excited about this upcoming week. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Once again, if you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. That would be awesome. And of course, hit that bell notification so you'd be notified of when the Thursday episodes do come out. Hint, hint, they come out on Thursday. But every once in a while, I'll do some lives and I'll do some other things. And once again, thank you so much. Before I go, I want to ask you how you currently are planning your week. What are you doing to set your week up for success? And of course, if any of these strategies have rung true to you, which ones are you going to implement? So leave a comment below. I'd love to hear. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next week on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast.